Hello, It's Pax here, and we're starting off the Modern Horizons 3 Commander decks. All I have at this moment are the Collector's decks, so we're going to go through those, and I'm going to put aside the Collector Booster Sample Packs, and eventually, once I get the rest of the decks, we'll do a set of probably 20 of them. So, that will be a bit later. But we got some cool stuff in between. Let's take a look at these. So we've got Eldrazi Incursion, Creative Energy, Tricky Terrain, nice, and Graveyard Overdrive. At the very least, they got some cool names, and these boxes look neat. Alright. So, let's start off with Creative Energy. Let's start with Tricky Terrain. I'm gonna save the Eldrazi Incursion one for last, probably. Probably our first ever 6-color deck. Color, of course, being in very big parentheses there. It says, "Welcome land super fans." Oh, there's also a firefly in my office. Alright. The box, which is completely foiled, as with other collector's editions. Then we have a set of foil tokens on the front, I guess. Some 6 counters. Deck. Okay. And the envelope of goodness. In the envelope of goodness, we have the deck box, insert, and a collector booster sample pack, which appears to be slightly bent. I'll save those for later. All right. First, let's take a look at this tuck box. Very shiny. Of course, themed. Oh, that's just... And an unthemed life counter. That's just sad. I mean, this is supposed to be a premium product, and they're giving us this cut rate. Like, come on. These are supposed to be premium collector decks. Doesn't feel very premium. Alright, on our insert, we've got a nice little bit of art, blurb about the deck, a review of the rules of Commander. And those colors are not showing up. It's this really vibrant green, and I don't know why it's not showing up. It's just kind of muted on screen. Oh well. We have Omo, Queen of Vesuva, which is the face commander for this. This is going to be blue-green, then a add, and another add. Okay. You know, I was expecting better. I don't know. Hasbro's gotten real good at disappointing me with my basic expectations for the last couple of years. But it is what it is. Alright. So let's get in here and look at what's in the deck. Now keep in mind this entire deck should be foil. I believe the tokens are as well. So, all right, we have Omo, Queen of Vesuva, 2 and hybrid blue-green for 1/5 legendary shapeshifter noble. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is every land type in addition to its other types, so that means it can tap for every color. And also affects like Urza's lands and locusts and all kinds of other stuff. Each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type. Okay, that's pretty neat. So we have a shapeshifter commander. Let's see. Yoti, Moag Ancient. Moag Ancient. 2 green-blue for 2/4 legendary elemental. When Yoti, Moag Ancient, enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green forest dryad land creature token for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. At the beginning of each combat, land creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Yoti's power. Through a fog bank. That's a shift. One in a blue for a 0/2 wall with defender and flying. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by fog bank. Ooh, foil Urza's power plant. That is. Oh, it's a fancy foil too. I just noticed that. It's like this kind of weird burst foil or ripple foil kind of thing. That's neat. Urza's power plant. We should all know what this is by now, but land Urza's power plant. Tap, add colorless. If you control an Urza's mine and tower, add double colorless instead. If you control land with all land types, Urza's power plant taps for double colorless. Urza's tower. They're using the 8th edition arts, I believe. Definitely the 9th edition. But I think this was also the 8th edition arts. Land Urza's tower, tap for colorless. If you have all 3, it taps for 3. Mine, same as the power plant, just the mine instead. Satyr Wayfinder. 1 in a green for 1/1. Satyr. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard. Nice self-mill. Wonderscape Sage. 1 in a blue for 1/3 Moonfolk Wizard. This is bloodless too. Flying. Tap, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Then discard a card unless that land had non-basic land type. I do like this foiling process a lot better than some of the other ones. Like, this is better than the Surge foils. Arcane Denial. Ooh, that's pretty too. 1 in blue, instant, counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. You draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Draw up to 2. So, if you counter your own spell, you draw 3 cards. That's the way to remember it. Simic Guildgate. It is the blue-green gate. Enters tapped, taps for blue and green. It's a gate. Treasure Cruise. Ooh. Pioneer All-Star. 7 in a blue sorcery with Delve. Each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this pays for a colorless. Draw 3 cards. This becomes almost Ancestral Recall. Basilisk Gate. Ooh. This one's played heavily in Pauper. Tap for a colorless. 2 tap. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of gates you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Soul Ring. You know it. You love it. 1 mana artifact. Taps for 2. Really fancy version. Beast Within. 2 in a green instant. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Good old unconditional removal in green. Tatiova, Benthic Druid. 3 green blue for 3/3 legendary Merfolk Druid with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and draw a card. Very nice. Propaganda. See a lot of that these days. 2 and a blue, enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. That's where Ghostly Prison got its ideas from. Simic Growth Chamber. It's the Karu for green-blue. Enters tapped. When it enters, you return a land from you control to your hand, and taps for green-blue. Floriferous Vine Wall. 1 and a green for a 0/2 plant wall with Defender. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Very nice. Arcane Signet. You know what? It's in every commander deck at this point, but 2 mana artifact taps for your commander's color identity. Desert of the Indomitable. It's a land desert, enters tapped, taps for a green, cycles for 1 and a green. Hashtag Oasis. Also a land desert, taps for colorless. You can tap and pay a life for a green, and then 1 green, tap and sacrifice a desert. Not necessarily this desert, but a desert. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. March from Velis Vel. 2 and a blue, sorcery. Choose a non-basic land type. Each land you control of that type becomes a copy of target creature you control until the end of turn, and gains haste until end of turn. Flashback 4 blue. You know, it'd be a little weird, but I think this would go really well in Forgetful Fish. Copy land. Okay, they just made it. 2 and a blue, enchantment. You may have copy land enter the battlefield as a copy of any land on the battlefield, except it's an enchantment in addition to its other types. Pretty cut and dried there. Desert Warfare. 3 and a green, enchantment. Whenever you sacrifice a desert, and whenever a desert card is put into your graveyard from your hand or library, put that card onto the battlefield under your control at the beginning of your next end step. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 5 or more deserts, create that many 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature tokens. They gain haste. Ooh, this is a card that's looked really interesting. Trench Post. It's a land locust. Taps for a colorless, and then 3 tap. Target player mills a card for each locust you control. So, goes well in post strategies. Sage of the Maze. 2 and a green for a 1/3 elf wizard. Tap, add 2 mana and any combination of colors. Tap until end of turn. Target land you control becomes an XX citizen creature citizen creature with haste. In addition to its other types, for X is twice the number of gates you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Then tap an untapped gate you control. Untap Sage of the Maze. Okay. That's silly. It did not need that last ability. But here we are. Okay. Lazotep Quarry. Desert. Tap for colorless. Tap, sacrifice a creature. Add 1 mana of any color. X2 tap. Sacrifice a desert. Exile target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's 4/4 black zombie. Activate only as a sorcery. Rampant Frog Guana. 2 and a green for a 3/3 frog with trample. Gets +10/+10 for each player who has lost the game. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may mill that many cards, put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped. That gets just out of hand very easily. Sunken Palace. Land Cave. Enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for blue. 1 and blue. Tap. Exile 7 cards from your graveyard. Add blue. When you spend this mana to cast a spell or activate an ability, copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Horizon of Progress. Land. Tap. Pay a life. Add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. 3 tap, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Well, that's just silly. 1 tap, sacrifice it, draw a card. Oh, it's one of the horizon. It's supposed to be like sort of one of the horizon lands. Planar Nexus. Planar Nexus is every non-basic land type. Tap, add a colorless. 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color. This goes well with any of the Urza lands. Aggressive Biomancy. XX green blue for sorcery. Create X tokens that are copies of target creature you control, except they have, when this creature enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Very nice. Talon Gates of Madara. Land gate. When it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature phases out. Tap, add a colorless. 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color. 4, put it from your hand onto the battlefield. Wait, what? It has an activated ability that you do from hand, I guess. That's silly. It's a land that's effectively a spell. Hydroid Gracis. X green blue for a 0/0 Jellyfish Hydra Beast. When you cast a spell, you gain half X life, then draw half X cards, round down each time. Flying, trample, it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. If you were playing Standard about 4 or 5 years ago, you should know. Well, maybe not even that. Yeah. Ravnica. The most recent Ravnica Standard. You should know how powerful this card is. Terastodon. Very nice. 6 green for a 9/9 elephant. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into the graveyard this way, its controller gets a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Very nice. Quite often you're blowing up your own permanents to put 18 power onto the battlefield. So, Lair of Hydra. Very nice. If you control 2 or more other lands, Lair of the Hydra enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add a green. X and a green until end of turn. Lair of the Hydra becomes an XX green Hydra creature token, or a creature. It's still a land. X can't be 0. Very nice. Nissa, Steward of Elements. X green blue for a legendary planeswalker Nissa with X loyalty. +2, scry 2. 0, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with mana value less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, Stalwart of Elements, you may put that card onto the battlefield. -6, untap up to 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste until end of turn. They're still lands. Very nice. This was a great finisher back in I believe it was Cat. She was in Standard. Magus of the Candelabra. Green for a 1/2 human wizard. X tap, untap X target lands. Very, very similar to, well, it's meant to be a Candelabra autonomous. Lumbering Falls. Enters tapped, taps for a blue or green, and then 2 blue-green. It becomes a 3/3 green and blue elemental creature with hexproof. Until end of turn, it's still land. Great man land, one of the better ones out of Battle for Zendikar. Blast Zone enters with a charge counter on it. Tap for a colorless. XX, tap, put X charge counters on it. 3, tap and sacrifice it. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on Blast Zone. Very nice. Dreamroot Cascade. Just about to rotate out of Standard, but currently in Standard. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Tap for a green or a blue. Apex Devastator. 8 green. This needed a reprint because it's used in Mississippi River and Legacy. But it has Cascade. It's a 10/10 Chimera Hydra. So whenever you cast a spell, you exile cards from the top of your library. So you exile a non-land card that costs less. You may cast that without paying its mana cost. Put the exiled cards on the bottom in a random order. Multiple instances of Cascade, each trigger separately. So this is 5 spells and a trench coat. Summary Dismissal, another fun one. 2 blue instant, exile all other spells and counter all abilities. Nice. Yavimaya Coast, another one that is currently in standard, although not rotating. And that is just beautiful. But tap for colorless. Green, tap for green or blue, deal 1 damage to you. That's it. Clean and simple. Flooded Grove, tap for a colorless, and then for a green or a blue, and tap it, add green, blue, or blue. So filters green or blue into any combination of 2 green or blue. Hour of Promise. This was a fun one back in, I believe it was Hour of Devastation. It was either Hour of Devastation or Cat, but it was one heck of a fun card. 4 and a green, sorcery, search the library for up to 2 land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Then if you control 3 or more deserts, create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Very nice. Ramanap Excavator. It is 2 and a green for a 2/3 Snake Cleric. You may play lands from your graveyard. It's Crucible of Worlds on legs. Hydra Broodmaster, 4 green for a 7/7 Hydra, XX green, Monstrosity X. If this creature isn't monstrous, put X +1/+1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous. When it becomes monstrous, create XX green Hydra creature tokens. That gets very silly and very out of hand very quickly. Drown in Dreams. X2 and a blue instant. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. Target player draws X cards, or target player mills twice X cards. You can target separate players for each of those abilities. Vine Glimmer Snarl. It's the it's called Strixhaven land. It's one of the snarls. Enters the battlefield, you may reveal a forest or island from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Taps for green or blue. Overflowing Basin. Filters colorless, or filters one of any color, or filters 1 mana into green-blue. Rain. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Ooh. With new art, too. 2 and a green for a 2/4 elemental creature, Nymph Dryad. This is a core part of Amulet Titan and Valakut combo. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. Very nice. Vivian Reed. 3 green for 5 loyalty legendary planeswalker Vivian. +1. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a card or land from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. -3. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. -8. You get an emblem with creatures you control. Get +2/+2 and have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Nice. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Very nice. This was one of the ones brought in with Modern Horizons 2, I believe it was, but this is a effective green shift version of Urborg to Tomb of Yawgmoth. It's a legendary land. Each land is a forest in addition to its other types. Keep in mind this applies to your opponent's lands as well. It lets you tap fetch lands for mana. Mirage Mirror. 3 mana artifact. 2 Mirage Mirror becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. Very nice. Temple of Mystery. Enters tapped. When it enters, you scry 1. Taps for a green or a blue. Chromatic Lantern. Ooh, very nice. 3 mana artifact. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. And then this also taps to add 1 mana of any color. Great way to fix for your colors. Oh, Stone. Oblivion Stone. 3 mana artifact. 4 tap, put a fate counter on target permanent. 5 tap, sacrifice Oblivion Stone. Destroy each non-land permanent without a fate counter on it. Then remove all fate counters from all permanents. Very nice. Scoot Swarm. Hey, another good one. 2 and a green for a 1/1 insect. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. This gets out of hand very quickly and snowballs very quickly. And there's a number of infinite combos with it as well. If you have a way of making your creatures come in as lands. Ta-da! Ovenwald Hydra. 4 green for an XX Hydra with a reach. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land, put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Keep in mind that gets a land of any kind, not a basic. Also, just a good card? Or a good way to get whatever land you need, especially utility lands. Evacuation. 3 blue instant. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. Very nice. Replication technique. 4 and a blue sorcery with demonstrate. When you cast a spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for their copies. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. Very nice. Finale of Revelation. Another great finisher from Standards Past. X blue sorcery. Draw X cards if X is 10 or more. Instead, shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw X cards, untap up to 5 lands, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile Finale of Revelation. Mana Reflection. 4 green enchantment. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces twice as much of that mana instead. Nice. Just super ramp. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Hey, very nice. 1 green for a 6/6 legendary Elder Giant. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Hold on a second. Isn't Uro is banned in Modern? And it's in a Modern Horizons recon. That's silly. Whenever Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life and draw a card, then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Escape, green, blue. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast it from your graveyard for its escape cost. Curse of the Swine. X blue sorcery. Exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller creates a 2/2 green boar creature token. One of the few ways to exile in blue. Vesuva. Hey, this needed a reprint. You may have Vesuva enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land on the battlefield. Dark Depths. Hey, these are a combo. There's actually several different combos with Dark Depths, but that's the original one. Dark Depths. Legendary Snowland. Enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. 3, remove an ice counter from it. If it has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, create Myriad Lage, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Very nice. And Thespian Stage. Hey, those go together as well. So Thespian Stage and Vesuva both have combos with Dark Depths. Tap, add a colorless. 2, tap, Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. Very nice. Avenger of Zendikar. 5 green for a 5/5 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. Ooh. Seer's Sundial. 4 mana artifact with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Nice. Not quite Horn of Greed, but also not on the reserve list. Rampaging Ballots. 4 green for a 6/6 beast with trample. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Expedition Map. 1 mana artifact. 2, tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. Works really well with the Urza land. Hidden Cataract. Land Cave. Enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a blue. And then 4 tap. Sacrifice it. Discover 4. Activate only as a sorcery. I think this would go really well in Forgetful. Hidden Nursery. Same thing but in green. Volatile Fault. Land Cave. Tap for colorless. 1 tap. Sacrifice it. Destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search the library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. You create a treasure token. So this does not replace itself. That's the thing. Growth Spiral. Green, blue, instant. Draw a card. You may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Very nice. I always thought that was tapped for some reason, but I guess it's just onto the battlefield. Elvish Rejuvenator. 2 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Druid. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Well, that's just a land too. For some reason, I thought that was a basic. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Very nice. Urban Evolution. 3 green, blue, sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Then you may play an additional land this turn. Ramp. Harmonize. 2 green, green, sorcery. Draw 3 cards. One of the most efficient card draws, like just card draws, in green. Thornwood Falls. Land enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life. Green and a blue, or taps for green and blue. That's it. Cloud Post. Land Locust enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for colorless for each locust on the battlefield. And I think it's only legal in Vintage at this point. Might be legal in Legacy. I just haven't seen it in quite a while if it is. Sylvan Scrying. 1 in a green sorcery. Search the library for a land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Very nice. Acidic Slime. 3 green, green for a 2/2 ooze with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. Pungify. For a blue, you get an instant that destroys target creature. It can't be regenerated, and its controller creates a 3/3 green ape creature token. Lush Oasis. It's a desert that enters tapped. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent, and taps for a green or a blue. This just came in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, if I remember correctly. Skullwinder. 2 and a green for a 1/3 snake with Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, then choose an opponent. That player returns a card from their graveyard to their hand. Okay. Desert of the Mindful. It's a land desert. Enters tapped. Taps for blue. Cycles for 1 and a blue. Command Tower. We all know what this is by now. Taps for your commander's color identity. Poison Dart Frog. This is also in Standard. Feels strange that there's so many standard legal cards in this. 1 and a green for a 1/1 frog with reach. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. 2 and it gains Death Touch until end of turn. Glimmer Post. When it enters the battlefield, you gain a life for each locust on the battlefield. Tap for colorless. Nice. Eureka Moment. 2 green, blue, instant. Draw 2 cards. You may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Quandrix Campus. Enters tapped. Taps for a green or a blue, and then 4 and tap. Scry 1. We have some basics. We have 1, 2, 3 islands. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 forests. Then we have an alternate version of Omo, Queen of Vesuva, and foil. It's the extra thick etched version. Then we have some tokens. Foil Marriott Lage token. Shiny. Why is this only foil on one side? A non-foil Sand Warrior on the other side. That's silly. Ape. 3/3 ape for Pugnify. Non-foil plant on the back. 2/2 boar. That's a non-foil forest dryad on the back. Okay, that's upsetting. Beast token. 4/4 beast. It's a non-foil copy on the back. 3/3 beast. It's a non-foil insect on the back. 2/2 zombie. It's a 3/3 elephant non-foil on the back. XX Hydra. 2/2 boar non-foil on the back. 0/1 plant. It's a 2/2 zombie on the back. I don't even remember there being zombies in here. 3/3 elephant foil. It's a 4/4 beast on the back. 1/1 forest dryad foil. That's Vivian Reed emblem on the back. I would have liked a foil Vivian Reed emblem. That would have been cool. And then on your turn, popular Magic formats reminder cards. Come on, Hasbro. Like, you really couldn't do the double-sided foil tokens? We all know you can do them. You've been putting them in every collector's pack for like the last 5 years. What the heck? I mean, overall, this seems like a cool deck. The corners that they cut in this are just silly, and putting like overflow from standard, like, come on, guys. It is what it is. All right, well, thank you for joining me on this adventure. Sorry for getting salty there at the end, but it is what it is. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the algorithm. Really helps us out, and, you know, helps us bring more videos like this to all of you. And, yeah, it really helps us out, and I really appreciate it. But until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.